Oh, yeah.
Bless and love, my lords. Welcome to another Red Lion Live interview. Today, I'm joined here by our friend Akeem. He is a bearded punk and founder of a script. It's a decentralized Twitch, the way I understand it. Hello, sir. How are you? Welcome.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yes, very nice to meet you, my fellow beard.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, now I can. How about you?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening there.
So yeah, well, the intro didn't go very well. We were in with problems, but I think now it's all under control. Now
Yeah,
everything is good. So I was saying it's very nice to meet you, my fellow beard. How's it
yeah,
going?
man. How's it going? Yes, yes. The coolest punk trait. I'm gonna say that now. But yeah, no, it's good to connect. Obviously, we've been talking before, but it's good to jump on a space and chop it up and discuss more and
For
see what's
sure.
exciting.
Why don't we start how we always break the ice on punk stock and go ahead, please, and talk to us a little bit about your punk story. How did you end up with the punk, and what is the story behind you owning a punk or two?
Yeah. Good question. So, funny enough, um, I actually heard about punks back in 2020, and I stupidly looked at it and just I was almost like it's a good idea, it's cool, but I left it. I just completely ignored it. Um, and I think this was around June, July 2020. Um, and essentially, I never really looked into it. I didn't bother reading any articles. I didn't jump in the community, which was a huge mistake. Because if I did, I would have just been sold to it straight away within minutes. And then I came obviously back across it at the end of January 21, so about 22 years ago. And that was just because, of course, it was just I was more on the CT side, so the crypto side more than NFTs. And I of course heard about it, as most people did who was around 2 years ago. Um, and then yeah, obviously, from there it was kind of like a second contact to punk, so it wasn't something alien to me. And then I picked one up from there, and I've basically across you know over the years, I've owned five or six different, well, six punks, five punks, five and a half, I'd say. One of them co-owned with a close friend of mine. And yeah, just has been in punk since then. Really, I've been usually someone who is. I don't want to. I've never really arced to being skeptical to things like NFTs, to be honest with you. Unlike most people when they first come into the space of like, what the hell is this? And then buying it out of speculation. But I would say with punks, it was really one of those really instant, like, affiliations and affections that I just thought,
Hmm.
it makes sense. And then from there, it was just, the rest is history. 2 years has flown by.
What was your entry price?
oh, first punk was about, I think 16 ETH, 16, 17 ETH,
Hmm.
um,
Very
something like
nice.
that. So it sounds very nice, but if I bought if I bought 6 months before, it would have been a ridiculously lower price. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I bought into the pump. I bought at the pump, which is not good, or just before it. But yeah, I mean, there's always two ways to see it. You can always say,
I remember
you can
when
always say Zelly.
Yeah, I remember when 20 punks seemed ridiculously expensive, but on hindsight, they were really cheap. But one of the positive things, I hear a lot of punk stories since we started this show. How did people buy? How did people sell? And I have to say, it's a good therapy, especially for, everybody says, oh, I wish I didn't do that or I didn't do that. So, um, it's very beautiful to see. Everybody has some kind of regrets, and you're
Yeah.
not alone there. So I think this is very therapeutic in a sense.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a bunch of people. I mean, the class of 2018, 2019, and even 2020. That there's you probably know there's a bunch of punks that owned 10, 15, and sold all of them just before it took off. Into a different
Man,
into a
there's
different
people
range.
who
So
owned 100 and never sold even one, or not
exactly. Yeah.
100 exactly, because I don't cannot say who they are, but there's
Yeah.
accounts that they are anonymous and they have like 50 plus punks, and yeah, they are holding strong. These
And
guys.
then, and, then, and you know what? And on the flip side, there's also guys, even public figures. There's guys like Gary Vee who openly has bought, they've bought the top of punks, but they don't care. They don't mind because at the end of the day, they're looking to hold for 10, 15,
It
20
was
years.
free if they made selling some silly drawings. I don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Let's not go that way. I cannot speak about that publicly. But you mentioned you were into crypto before NFT, so
Yeah.
give us a little bit of TLDR of your background.
Sure, sure. I mean, I'll go into my background in general without talking forever. So I mean, first considerable business I built was about 10 years ago. It was a food company. So it was a health food brand that essentially grew from zero stores to 5,500 stores worldwide. Which I later sold and then migrated into co-owning a sports content company, which is obviously my arc into media and entertainment, which is with Script Network, etc., where we we actually done a 360 development process for Disney, PayPal, Nike, Adidas, over 50 tier one brands where we would come up with a concept, hire the talent or work as the talent, produce, direct, and then amplify that content all for them. Some of the examples is the PayPal 2016 Euro 2016 campaign. We handled all of the video, social for that. So yeah, those are the sort of things that we were doing. But my arc into crypto specifically is that I actually was quite a heavy trader of Bitcoin and ETH back in late 2016, early 2017. That's when I got into it, and I started to build networks and ultimately started to help facilitate large OTC transactions between banks and private investors, for which I also was trading quite heavily into crypto at that point into 2017 to 2019. And then for which obviously 2020 came and, as mentioned, I started to come across NFT for the first time. And then into 2021, bought my first, and actually I bought my first NFTs actually in 2020, but bought my first considerable ones in 2021. And then also then co-founded an NFT project, which is actually part of the Script Network ecosystem, called BearX. And then now into 2023, obviously now uh, of course, from a Script Network perspective, now building, what ultimately we see as the future of TV, which is, decentralized television network, which we've essentially been building for most of 2022, to be honest with you. In fact, all of 2022, 11 of the 12 months. And that's
So
just
how
purely,
does that work?
yeah, sure. Well, actually, ultimately, it's a video protocol. So a Script Network is much more than being a decentralized TV platform. But what we wanted to do, which I'll just go to the vision first, and the mission of Script Network is to essentially fix three large significant problems in an age-old industry, which is obviously film and TV. And it's really firstly from the content partners perspective. Filmmakers and TV producers are actually very similar to musicians. It's a graveyard. 99% of them doesn't even make enough money to keep the lights on. And that's purely because, they can't make, as many people would be aware, just like the music industry, uh, they can't, if they make a film, firstly, it's very difficult to make a film, to get finance for it. But even if they can make a film, to distribute it and actually get paid and to get any data for that is nearly impossible. We know of all of the great filmmakers of our generation, and we also know of all the great musicians. But to be honest with you, that there's actually only a handful. Almost all of them actually doesn't fix this problem. So we really wanted to fix that from that perspective and have a reward model which pays them faster, in days, not 6 to 9 months. Like some of platforms that we watch every day, without saying names.
No, go
Yeah,
ahead and say
yeah.
Twitch and YouTube.
well, yeah. I
What do
mean,
you think they're gonna do, right? You think Twitch is
well,
going to hunt you?
well, no, not at all, not at all. I was just trying to be diplomatic, but
Yeah.
and we'll talk about that shortly. But I mean, in short, from the TV perspective, pay them faster, give them data for that, so they actually know who's watching, their new thriller that they just spent 3 years making, and ultimately from that perspective, also giving them a distribution channel, into crypto and film, for this next generation. And on the user side, obviously, instead of just paying a monthly fee for content, creating a model which actually rewards them per block, ultimately through a series of different interactions that they'll have, whether on chain or off chain within the platform, largely through watching television every single day or whenever they so to wish. So those are the two key things that we fix. But ultimately, from a content perspective, which is super exciting, we've partnered with Commonwealth, which is a really really cool platform, where we've built out a model which essentially allows content governance. So if you're, let's say, Indian, or if you're Welsh, for example, and you want to watch more Welsh thrillers on the platform and you own a certain number of tokens, you can propose that ahead. And obviously, those who also owns tokens can then vote for or against that they want to see less, American dramas. And we actually then act upon that within the protocol to essentially come with a long-term vision to decentralize this television process, so people actually watch what they want to watch, as well as obviously excite those who can do that through earning on a day-to-day basis as well. So yeah, that's essentially the model. But there's a ton of other stuff, but I guess the
Well,
key part is the TV side from that
yeah.
perspective.
Let's take it a step back so I can understand it a little bit better, and our listeners, of course. So you have a reward scheme for different for content creators, and the viewers also have a reward mechanics. How does it work exactly?
Absolutely, yeah. So I should have said it before, but as I went off on a tangent, so I will just explain for people who are in the audience who may be new to script. This is a linear TV platform, so it's production generated content, so it's not user generated content, meaning it's not
When you
content.
say linear, is it live?
Yeah, so it's a live experience, exactly. So if a TV show starts at 3:30 and you turn up at 3:35, it means you've missed the first 5 minutes. There's no way to
So is
rewind.
it like Twitch where you cannot watch like 10 seconds before, but on YouTube you can?
Exactly, but the difference is Twitch is user generated, so it's content. If I wanted to create a Twitch channel today, I can do that. Whereas this is studio level content that you would see on
Mm.
a TV, content you'll see at cinemas, content you'd see, if you were going around to your friend's house and watching
From
it
a
on the sofa.
production company.
Exactly, exactly. So it's a
Okay.
linear experience, and obviously what that's allowed us to do is a lot of cool stuff, including with NFTs that has never been done before, which obviously we can definitely talk about today. But in short, it's a linear TV experience. So if you go on the platform, there will be ad breaks that are non-skippable, but there are also TV shows that run and start and end at certain times of the day, depending on obviously where you are and what time you tune in.
And who is going to be making the content?
Oh, good question. So it's actually content. We do content deals from a traditional sense. So, um, some of the people, some people who are part of the community would be aware. We go to film markets. We were in Cannes late last year. We visit MIPCOM, etc., which is large film markets, etc., and we do traditional content deals with these companies. So we essentially upload that content from obviously the users from the studios that we work with or the filmmakers we work with, and then we put it into a schedule, a live schedule that users will be able to watch, obviously based on the time or the
Can
day
you
that
give
they
us
are.
some examples so we can visualize better?
Sure. So, there's it, the content that's going live at the time of launch. We can't actually announce now specifically, but as an example, let's say um, uh, GoldenEye, you know, which is obviously a James Bond film, 007 film. Most people have heard of it. So what we would do is, they are that particular piece of content. So that film is owned either by a distributor or by a studio. We would then
Mhm.
we would then do a deal with that studio, whether it's a rev share deal, or it's something called a minimum guarantee. So we would pay up front for that piece of content, and then we would then stream it on our platform, however many times a day, or however many times a week even. So that's how we work from a content perspective. So if there's a filmmaker, we would do a direct deal with that filmmaker or a distributor. Or on a larger scale, we would take, let's say, 3, 4, 500 hours of content from a particular provider, which is what we're doing in tandem at the moment. So it's a range of different deals, and it obviously depends on what content partner we're particularly working with for that in particular.
Okay, I see. So the content, it's some sort of like mix between Twitch and Netflix, for example.
Yeah, the easiest way to compare it is some people in the audience may be aware of a company called Pluto.tv. So, if not, they're a Web2 TV platform. They've got about 75 million daily active users, so that's pretty large. They are probably the closest thing in terms of the experience. But if you haven't heard of that, the closest thing to the experience is television. So what you literally watch on your sofa. Netflix is completely a different model because they pay a monthly subscription fee, and in return, you basically choose what you want to watch when you want to watch it. Um, whereas this is a linear experience where you kind of watch things spontaneously and by chance, and you get rewarded for doing that as well.
That's interesting, but my comment here is since television is dying, what made you turn into such a model instead of live streaming, for example? Because right now there's only Twitch basically as a big player and YouTube, of course, for live streaming. Why didn't you want to go into that market?
Yeah, good question. I think one of the things that a lot of people see on the headlines is that TV's dying. Actually, it's cable TV that's dying and subscription-based television which is dying. But actually, streaming on your television's actually gone up. It goes up to about 200 to 300% year on year. From that perspective, actually, from the side of viewership, people actually still prefer to watch content on their TV on average rather than on their laptop or on their mobile phone. We're talking long form content, so content that lasts more than 10 minutes. And from our perspective, what live content on live TV allows us to do is a ton of different layers or in terms of our experience, which simply isn't possible if it's an on-demand platform like Netflix or if it's a live streaming platform for gamers like Twitch or YouTube. And let's be honest, there's a ton of great alternatives for, you know, even a Web3 version of Twitch, or YouTube. There's a ton of great examples which I could even say, but from the perspective of TV and enhancing the TV experience, that is something that we're tackling. And to be honest with you, the market is actually growing, if not too fast. It's actually growing so fast. There's actually a lot of people who, a lot of companies that actually have an issue with too many users in regards to the amount of content that they're currently managing to to put through their schedule. So, the data shows us that it's the right model. But to be honest, it's really for our future growth and our model across the ecosystem for, Script Network to be a live TV experience and to remain that. But, take nothing away from what you were mentioning. 100% we understand that people don't want to spend a monthly fee on cable TV. But there's a huge market for free TV and free TV that people can watch across multiple different devices.
And how does the tokenomic work? How do get people get rewarded? How does your token work inside this application?
Sure. So we have a two token model. So the core token that's actually going live at TGE is SCPT, which is the governance token. So it's largely for staking, for content governance and for protocol governance. So content governance, just as mentioned about 10 minutes ago, where it gives people the opportunity to decide upon what they want to watch or not want to watch, for that matter. Is also required for running nodes, is required for staking, it's required for also protocol governance, whereas SPay is the payment token. So it's the token that users are rewarded in. It's the token that's used for upgrading the respective NFT, which is connected to their account, which essentially ensures that users can earn a daily amount. And in short, elevator explanation of what I'm talking about. It's like you could say Steppen does for sneakers, where you have to have a pair of sneakers to ultimately earn daily. But the same applies, or similar applies, for Script Glass. You need to own a pair of glasses, which essentially needs to be looked after in terms of upgraded and recharged. And this is ultimately part of the model to avoid people misusing the platform, but ultimately to also reward those who are, actively using it in the right way. I just want to make a key comment though, which is probably the first of any to earn model, that I think with almost every single model I've seen up till now, it requires you to buy something up front, where you need to like buy a pair of sneakers or buy whatever up front to start earning. To get your first Script Glass is completely free. You don't have to pay anything. So you don't need to spend $20 to get, to start earning, and then you're like waiting to get an ROI. No, it's completely free. And we've built a model which is completely unique to ensure that every single person who wants to use the platform, literally with $0, can actually start and actually can start earning from that perspective as well.
That's pretty cool, man, and I love how much depth and thought went into it. Not just a single function, but it shows that you have a vision that you want to bring to life with this platform. But what was your inspirations? Were you are you a gamer, or are you watching live content a lot?
Yeah, I mean, my inspiration comes from being like a stakeholder across multiple different, from myself and the team's perspective. We've essentially done it all from a content side. We've sold content to studios. We've bought content from um, from filmmakers or content creators. We've worked with them. We've been talent ourselves. We've developed content. We've directed it, and we've ultimately been on both sides. Obviously, from a user perspective, viewing all of the content like everyone else has as well. So we kind of understand both pain points, and from that perspective, it was like really what gave us the desire to actually fix an industry that we care so deeply about, to be honest with you, because it's an age-old industry. Nothing's really been done to fix it. we're really aggressive to build a sustainable and scalable model that you know, screen by screen, literally, we'll be, helping do that. So that's kind of where our inspiration came from. We're super excited that this is an industry that is full of giants, and from our perspective, our model is super aggressive and super exciting to the point that significant studios are taking note and can see that, the model that's been built, which, in light of what you just mentioned, yeah, we've put a lot of work into this model to make sure it's sustainable and scalable. Um, um, Over a year, to be honest with you, into this model. We've got two guys on the team that one in particular that literally is focused on machine learning and analysis in terms of data, not just of this protocol, but all of the protocols that have done well, and especially the ones that have failed over the last year. And really ensuring that our model does not do that. And obviously, there is multiple factors that we can't plan ahead of, but we want to ensure that that this model can benefit and reward people, not just today, not just for the early people who are there for the first few days, but actually in a year's time, 2 years time, they can actually still be sitting back and on their screen, whether it's their TV or their laptop or their phone, and still be earning and being rewarded for doing so.
I love that you mentioned that you have dealt with IP on both sides of the end. And one of the main pitches when we were launching Red Lion Studios was that the projects and the IP, the original IP we create, it's native Web3 IP, and we will later be able to sell it and broker it to production companies or Web2 or Web3 production companies that can develop it further, maybe on different formats such as TV, as you mentioned. And I'm happy I see that coming to life. Are you guys going to also be producing original content? And if yes, how?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, that's part of our roadmap. I mean, for us, that's a focus probably in about 2 years' time, 3 years' time. Realistically, really, our focus is scaling to essentially gain a significant scale from a user perspective, and for us to focus on a great experience for users, and not just users but content partners as well as those who, from an enterprise perspective, that wants to use the network to benefit them. um, but yes, script studios is definitely part of the roadmap. It's definitely something that we intend to do, alongside acquiring content, not just for distribution, but in terms of IP and rights. And that's one of the cool things that we're able to do with NFT projects as well, that even exist at the
Yeah, for
moment.
sure. The space is full of amazing IP ready to be harvested, right?
Absolutely, because I think what a lot of people at the moment and I'm sure we're going to talk about the NFT space anyway, today, but at the moment it's almost a road everyone's driving on the motorway where there's no signs and no one really knows when a sign will come up where you have to take an exit, if that makes sense. And what I'm basically trying to say is that, you know, the there right now it's there's a meta and there's a clear path maybe for a lot of projects to go down, but maybe in a year's time, a lot of projects may want to, not so much as their end game, but a lot of projects may want to use that IP for some of their great art and actually put it into a film or put it into a TV show. You've seen some great guys within even the punk community that has developed TV, films, or even long form content of some form with IP from NFTs, and that is a huge opportunity for NFTs. But from our perspective, we are the last mile, so we are the distribution arc, and from our perspective, we actually from building over the last year, we're fortunate enough to be in beta with actual live users that are using the platform every day, meaning we have that opportunity to give people data, give people the opportunity to actually distribute their artwork or their IP to a different audience, but also obviously giving them the opportunity to create content for that and perhaps package it and put it on a platform where it can be streamed to hundred well by then it will be hundreds of thousands if not millions of users. So yeah, we're super excited about that. That's some of the cool things, but obviously without me rambling, there's a ton of exciting things that we have coming onto the platform over the coming weeks if not months, from an NFT perspective.
No, you're not rambling. I love the enthusiasm. You should hear me talk about Red Lion Project on our meetings. It's a mess. You make very good sense. But you mentioned that you are the last mile of content delivery. How do you define that? Can you explain it a little bit
Yeah,
further?
sure. So I think what happens a lot from with filmmakers and TV um, TV producers and anyone who wants to make long form content is that you can create a really great film, um, but then you almost hope that it'll get picked up by Netflix or Amazon or let's say another huge distributor partner. And there is no assurance of that. And even if you do get it, I mean, I won't speak about it, just but you
Yeah,
can.
but this is about the production companies and the people who can bring a project to completion, and then
Yeah.
um, they have to market it, or it's already part of a deal, I guess, for it to be produced.
Yeah.
But what about the people who have who want to put in a production together?
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, in short, yeah, just like what you said. So, for those who already completed a film or have that, we provide a distribution channel that they've not had before, fast and obviously with the benefits we've mentioned. Now, with those who have not, who wish to, and that's slightly different. Um, I mean, what we what we have in our roadmap, not now, not happening right now, but is to help develop and almost have. It's almost like a hybrid launchpad slash fundraise platform within Script Network, which allows filmmakers or those with IP that wish to create long form content with can actually then put forward that content and essentially allow users um, to
That's so
co-invest
cool to
or take part.
crowdfund it.
Exactly. So essentially, from that
Mhm.
perspective, but specifically for those who are in the media and entertainment space or wish to distribute their IP to create film or content from that perspective. So yes, we will have that platform
Mm.
which is a huge part because what I'll just mention now, alongside the countless filmmakers and studios that are in Web 2 that has thousands and thousands, and this is a key part as well, key issue in this industry. They have thousands of hours um, of films and TV shows that they just can't simply distribute. Netflix doesn't want it. Amazon doesn't want it. The other video on demand platforms may give them a deal that is a penny on a dollar to sorry, a cent on a dollar, so it doesn't make sense for them. Whereas we provide that opportunity for them to help distribute and migrate over also to Web3, where they can save costs in terms of storage up to 80%, alongside faster distribution, alongside data, and obviously alongside hopefully better payment as well. So we fix both ends of the model, both new incumbents who want to create film and entertainment content with their IP, alongside experienced filmmakers and studios that already have that, but doesn't know anything about blockchain and needs help and assistance to migrate over and ultimately increase their distribution.
At this point, I would like to say if anyone has any questions, feel free to raise your hands and we will pass on the mic. Um, So yeah, just press the mute button. There's a little hand there. Raise your hand, and we will raise you up as a speaker. So the holy grail when you are making a project, or for everybody building a project, is daily active users. What is your what is an insight that you can give us for getting daily active users? How did you achieve that goal for your platform?
Well, yeah, I think this is an important thing, because I think I've said it for anyone that has been part of any of the communities I'm in. I talk about it more than almost anything else that I say is what really matters in this space is adoption and innovation. Beyond everything else, everything else is noise. Beyond the fact of adoption and innovation, first and foremost. I know it sounds controversial, but that's what really matters. And I think you know, and when I mean noise, I don't want to say everything else, but in terms of like hype. So from our perspective, we really wanted to ensure our that our platform is a platform that helps onboard the next cohort of 5 to 10 to 20 to 50 million users over to Web3. Now, to do that, we know that we have to essentially operate as a Web 2.5 company. We have to essentially be friendly and straightforward to use for my sister or your cousin Red Lion, or anyone's on his mum, to understand the platform straight away, within seconds. And for anyone who is on the platform now, or wants to check it out, we hope, obviously, there's tons of bugs and we've got so much to do better. But we know that if we was to show this to someone who has never ever been anywhere near crypto or blockchain, and they go to the website, the beta specifically, they'll understand what it is. Oh, great. It's live TV. It's free TV. Simple. It literally takes 3 seconds to explain. And I'll be honest, I've been in the space just like we mentioned on the intro. And I know you have as well, Redline. I've been in the space for a number of years. And to be honest, even every day when I come across a new protocol, sometimes I have to sit and read for 30 minutes just to even understand what it does. And I'm not an expert, obviously. I'm still an idiot compared to most, but I'm
And many times, even after reading, you
exactly.
still
And
cannot make
you
it.
still can't. Sometimes I almost lie to myself. I'm like, oh yeah, I get what they do. I get what they do, and I haven't got a clue. I haven't got a clue. That's reality.
I kinda get it,
Yeah, exactly.
but I really don't.
Exactly. And I realized about a year ago that that is a concern, because I started talking to, obviously, around the bull run where, everyone's friend started texting you about NFTs. And I realized NFTs is so good because that's it. It does do that. It makes it so everyone understands it. It's just a picture. It's digital art online. If even if someone doesn't understand blockchain, so I think from a product perspective and a middleware perspective, whether it's storage, whether it's servers, whether it's platforms that actually the wider community uses, like TV platforms, gaming platforms, these need to be, adoption centric for users who are not used to crypto and blockchain. So that's one of the first things that we really wanted to make easy. We wanted to make it easy that you can sign up within one click, within 10 seconds, you're using the platform and you're a registered user. So that really helped. But I think besides that, it's really because what we're providing is something that um, everyone does on a day-to-day basis already. We're not asking or expecting people um, to, I don't know, do something that they don't do every day. This is something that everyone does anyway. Everyone sits and watches a couple of hours of content every day on average anyway. So why not get rewarded for it? So from that no-brainer perspective, it's made it quite straightforward for people to come on board. And looking at the numbers, we have 22,000 daily. Sorry, we don't have 22,000 daily. Actually, we have 22,000 registered users. We sit at about 5,000 daily active users. Weekly active about 12,000. 95% retention. We're sitting at over you know, I don't even want to look at. I haven't even looked at numbers over the last 24 hours, but about 40,000 hours watched across the platform, which grows obviously day on day. So these are numbers that are actually so small that they're laughable to obviously large video platforms. But for a company um, that went live on the 23rd of December, 2 days before Christmas, which is almost a month to the day. Oh, just over a month now. That is super exciting. And we're
No,
excited
these
for
are
everything.
great numbers, undoubtedly, man. I mean, it's a new project, and people underestimate how hard it is to build something and convince people to use it,
Absolutely,
and convince people to use it daily, even for free. It's even harder.
absolutely. And look, let's be honest. I think for everyone who's on the call, I know there's a lot of experienced guys. The reality is, you know, I think a few months ago, people saw an article on how many users that let's say Decentraland has, for example, which is a $1 billion company. They've got, I think, $10 billion. They were worth $10 billion plus in the bull market. And I think, uh, correct me if I'm wrong, even after they corrected the statement, they have about 1,000 active users daily. And the on-chain in the on-chain activity shows that. And if you just type in Decentraland, how many users do they have on Google, you'll see articles about it. And that is not a knock on them. They're an incredible platform, but it just goes to show how hard it is that everyone talks metaverse, 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 but actually how many people are actually using any type of metaverse product at the moment on a day-to-day basis. And I think a lot of people are pushing NFT project. Oh, release a game, release this to tomorrow. But actually, y- if anything, if anything now rather than last year, at least gaming is starting to be become adopted within Web3. Whereas a year ago, there'll probably be only about 5 people in the metaverse. From that perspective. So we are on a long road and journey, which is my point. But also, yes, it is super hard um, to essentially have people use the product. That is definitely something that people maybe don't realize. But we're super excited that I think with those numbers we feel we're probably one of the fastest growing, if not um, the fastest growing media entertainment platform in Web3 at the moment, and our numbers are higher than probably most projects that are worth 1 billion plus in the market. And I think if we just put it into perspective here, and this is nothing to do with Script Network, but this is for just in line with your question on or your comment on how hard it is. You take Lens Protocol, a company that has been significantly funded, significantly pushed, even by the largest protocol in the space, Aave. They have only 75,000 registered users as of last 2 weeks ago. I haven't checked recently. So, you know, that's how difficult it is. We've got 21,000 within a month, and we really feel that we'll be at 50,000 before launch. And we 100% expect to be at 4 to 500,000 by the end of this year. And we 100% expect that because, in light of the last question, we're not focusing on just the Web3 or crypto users because the reality is we're all selling. I say joking sometimes in the punk space community that we're all selling to the same 3,000. There's only 3,700 of us in the space. Yeah, we're just buying and selling to the same people time and time again. And that's what I mean by that joke is that a lot of people are not realizing that actually how many new wallets are actually being created on a day-to-day basis. How many new users does OpenSea have on a day-to-day basis? If that's not going up week on week, month on month, why and who's building to fix that? That's what really matters because otherwise, all that's going to happen in about 3 years' time is it'll just be everyone on this call buying and selling to each other. That's all that's going to happen because there's no one else.
That's a very interesting thought, and to expand on that, yeah, I love the new wave of NFT projects that are coming out, and they are actually using the technology, and maybe the NFT technology and the crypto technology is running on the background, and the main objective is onboarding users into the ecosystem and their applications and their products. We and to draw a parallel with 2017 ICO craze, it was just pure crap projects, and then it was some really good projects that were using the technology that came after that, and we saw on the DeFi summer, and we saw Aave that you mentioned, and other protocols that flourished from that. So to draw a parallel with NFTs, I kind of see that on the NFT space. There was a lot of trash, a lot of JPEGs being sold that were, let's say, empty. But since then, people took a very, very hard look at the technology, realized that this is game changing for everything, and now I'm really happy to see people are building really cool projects that actually solve problems and that are marketable. And it's great to see projects like yours that are tackling very, very hard markets if you want to break into. I mean, like even who was it? Was it Microsoft that had Mixer? They failed. They failed really bad at it also, and it's a huge company, so it takes a lot of determination and know how to break into that, and courage, of course. So yeah, for sure, we need people like you guys that are trying different stuff and are going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I think we need. There's a lot of things that are needed in the space that we need great art to continue to be made from not just from Gen Art but also PFP art. We need great marketplaces, to constantly, whether it's Blur or whether it's 10 others that come after. There needs to be more,
Yeah,
because
it is an industry and needs everything to work well.
yeah, 100%. And it needs competition. It needs competition. It needs innovation. I think that's the most important thing because otherwise, like I said, people are just going to, we're all. I think almost everyone on this in this space is. Yeah, I don't want to say everyone's degens, but most people on this space are either degens or we're all so in love with NFTs that we're here for good, regardless of pretty much what happens. But the reality is most people are not. I mean, again, everyone asks themselves. I'm sure almost everyone who's been here over a year, they had friends or family message them like, "Oh, which NFTs should I buy?" If you text them now and ask them, "Are you still in NFTs?" They'll say no, uh, and it's simple as that. You know, so just as almost like a question, just ask them why. And I done that for about 2 weeks. Just asked everyone that I knew was in NFTs a year ago, why are they not in it anymore? And it's so fascinating when you hear what their reason is. And that should, if you care about the space more than just flipping um, tokens or JPEGs for money, if you care about the space, that question really matters. And it certainly matters to us anyway as builders because you know what we just don't want to get to a point that this stagnates and it goes down, and in 10 years time we're like, oh, do you remember those NFTs? They used to be good, you know.
Yeah. Um, before we close out, I want to pick your mind since you are a technology man about AI. We saw recently GPT-3 launching, Chat GPT-3 actually, and it took over the whole world. It's currently doing the whole world's homework and other assignments. Um, there's also countless of other applications and projects and neural networks that are hitting the market, and all of that is going to be upgraded and optimized, some of them even connected to the internet or between them. How do you see this whole renaissance evolving, if you may?
Yeah, really good question. I think it's super exciting. Obviously it's a little bit it's a little bit worrying in terms of like from an educational perspective. I'm sure people have seen that people, Chat GPT has been used to pass the bar. It's being used to like literally pass exams now, which means it's a little bit unfair for those who are doing things the right way. But I think people have to embrace it. It's technology. You have to embrace the fact of what's happening at the moment. And I think for the TV industry in particular, Chat GPT can bring so much in terms of helping complete scripts. It can help find solutions in terms of scenes that need filling. I think there are some people who are attempting that to now create content with AI, the use of AI. So we're going to embrace it. We're going to be as close to it as possible within the ecosystem, and do what we can to work with uh, using ChatGPT within the script network. But I'd say from a perspective outside of like the company, it's like you just have to embrace it. You have to embrace it because it's come in. And I would say though, the educational side is a little bit strange, I'd say, and it's going to be very difficult for those who are marking tests to notice which is AI and which is like
Hmm.
real. So I think that's
Maybe
the
we
hard part.
should transition from a model of like remembering information and retaining information to a model of like accessing information and also be taught at school probably because this is revolutionizing everything from every aspect.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think this is where the curriculum, I think, like the study base and the curriculum for all of across the world now will be forced to change because simply this current model means that AI now beats it. It beats it almost across the board. And we're only in 2023 now. Imagine what it's like in 2030. So, yeah, like they have to work out a different way to ultimately like define who's passed the test and who hasn't, and essentially take that away from education, and use that model to embrace education somehow. So, yeah, that's what I would say. But it's really exciting. It's really exciting. What's your thoughts about it anyway, out of interest?
For me, I look at it from a very humanitarian, if you may, perspective, but I don't know if it's humanitarian or my own opinion, but the less amount of work hours humanity needs to put into maintain society and industry is a win-win, you know. So if we don't have to drive, if we don't have to do laborious repeating tasks, I think life is going to be better
I
overall.
agree.
Now, how is economy going to be? I don't know. Probably it has to be reimagined. But there's definitely answers to those questions. What are the answers right now? I don't know, but it's really exciting to see what is coming, you know, because technology is amazing and it's the only thing that's directly changing your life day by day, whether you are at the edge of technology or just a late adopter, it changes your life. I mean, everybody has a washing machine, and it's not a taboo to have a washing machine. Now it's just relieving all this work that you would have to do manually. So um,
Um,
that's the same thing with some more mental tasks, but same rules apply, I guess.
agree. Yeah, agree.
Um, Man, thank you so much for coming in and educating us about what script is and how you are changing the game of streaming and content and TV online. I would like to invite you back to the podcast in 2023 and check with you what is occupying your mind and where script is then.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I think from perspective of everyone here, thank you so much for joining. Um, Obviously, you could check out Script TV whenever you like, but I think from the perspective of keeping up to date, do feel free to check the Discord and check the Twitter as well. And we'd love to be back and talk further. And I think from your perspective, I just want to say shout out to you guys at Red Lion. The job that you guys have done for a long, long time, well before um, well before the hype, deserves a lot of respect. And I think from that perspective, we hope that there's more like like you guys who can deliver content and on a consistent basis. Whether it's a bull market or a bear market, which is super exciting and important.
Thank you so much, man. It really means a lot. As you know, it's hard to keep consistent, but yeah, everybody putting good amount of work, and yeah, we are getting there for sure. At some point, it will be recognized a little bit more, but yeah, we are working hard towards it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. And just to finish up,
Hmm.
for anyone who does want to become a user on Script Network, do feel free to head to the website. You can sign up pre-launch. We haven't launched. I think I just got a message about it asking, but we haven't launched any tokens yet. The platform's still in beta. It doesn't go live until spring. Um, uh, Obviously, depending on if you hold what NFTs you hold, you can of course claim potential airdrops, etc. But more on that is all in the announcements on Discord or in some of the documentation on the website as well. So feel free to continue to enjoy the platform. We go live on actually 90 million television screens in April through a large, significant deal, which is super exciting. Um, Alongside obviously being on your TVs, sorry, on your laptops, as well as your mobile phones as well. So hope to see you there whilst we grow, and we'll continue to take feedback from the community and do as best as possible to you know go towards this goal and mission that we have of decentralizing television. So yeah, thank you for having me.
All right, fantastic. Thanks so much, man, and thank you everyone for listening live and joining us here. Shout out to you guys for coming in. We also have the recordings uploaded on Spotify, YouTube, and of course tomorrow. Don't miss our live interview with Dandelion, co-creator of QQL. It's going to be a very interesting and vibey chat as was this one. And of course, we also have the Red Lion Gazette 123 issue live. It's an open edition, $25, and gets you three amazing NFTs. So thank you all for coming in. Have a wonderful evening. Bye bye.